Welcome to the April 2024 user group. Today we're going to focus on cases within Salesforce. I have the pleasure of kicking us off. I'll start by walking through a few pieces of information. Today we're going to talk about cases within Salesforce, specifically the case object. And for those that are not familiar with what the case object is, it does allow you to record, track, and basically solve issues within the Salesforce ecosystem. We're not going to be talking about a lot of the advanced features and other functionality within Service Cloud and other offerings. We're going to focus specifically on cases, I believe, at this time. So while we focus on cases, it's just a bit of a reminder that everyone who is currently utilizing Avocado typically has the Power of Us program, which provides you 10 free licenses, and typically you get either Sales or Service Cloud licenses. And as a reminder, you can upgrade to have both. There's a little bit of an add-on to have both sales and service. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory and a bit of a review. I'm just going to recap that the Sales Cloud license does focus on lead generation and conversion of constituents into sales, whereas the Service Cloud does just that. It focuses on existing customers and how you service them. And there's different features depending on which cloud you go with. And again, you can go with both for a small add-on. So a lot of the power users, non-platform users, we always recommend a Sales or a Service Cloud license. And they are interchangeable for those that are not aware. If you have purchased Sales and decide you wanted to go with services, it's usually just an administrative call to your account rep to get them to convert them from Sales to Service, and they typically are the same price. So you can convert in between. If you have even one license too many of one and you want to convert one license over to another, I've seen clients do that and you can convert them pretty easily. So just be aware that that is available to you if you weren't available or weren't aware of that. Today we're going to focus on the Service Cloud, more case management or case object. And if you went with the Service Cloud offering, even though you can get cases with Sales, there's a little bit of a more robust case offering within the Service Cloud. Things like auto-responding emails, assignment rules, and some of the advanced automation functionality that you can get within cases on top of Service Cloud. We're not going to talk about all these things. We're just making you aware that these are available to you. And of course, there's always the email to case, web to case, and Experience Cloud methods for bringing cases in to help you manage them. And with Service Cloud, it tends to focus a lot more and provide a lot more add-ons around case management object. There's just a few here, like everything in Salesforce. Salesforce offers additional add-ons, but make no doubt, you don't need all these add-ons in order to use case management. You can use it out of the box the way it is without these things, and then potentially add them in later if you needed more advanced functionality. We're not probably going to focus on all of these today, but I'm guessing because I'm looking forward to hearing what our Avocado champions have to say about how they're using it. As always, we recommend, if you're looking at cases and before you engage a consultant, either TechShare or a third-party consultant, there's a really nice read. It's only 24 pages. It's the Case Management Implementation Guide, and it gives you a really good indicator of, what you would need to do to implement cases within Salesforce. So 24 pages, well worth the read. To tell you a little bit about the integration within Avocado, I'm not going to focus a lot on this. I'm going to hand it over really quickly. But, the use cases we often hear within Avocado are things like, how do I manage some of the functionality that Avocado does not provide, or I don't want to provide within Avocado for some reason. The most common thing we hear is, I don't want people to be able to cancel their membership, but I want them to be able to request to cancel their membership. So, cases is a perfect opportunity for that, or any other request that you might have that isn't native to our functionality. So we've integrated the Avocado portal and have the ability to create a contact us option that will seamlessly open the case portal, experience portal, just like we use Experience Cloud for our digital experiences for our Avocado portal. You can seamlessly move over to the cases and add like a contact us or whatever you want to call it through a language file to allow them to open a case. Some of the more advanced things we're hearing, and some examples that I want to at least share with you today. We're currently working with our rollout of the JCC of Dallas, and they're planning on using some screen flows within case management. An example I'll give you is one of the ones that I thought was really relevant to everyone is a program creation flow. So when one of their staff members wants to create a new program, they have a whole workflow that they're going to collect the information for that program through a screen flow on a case. And then essentially it'll just be approved and then create the program within Avocado. So it's a fairly unique way. And they have quite a few of these types of flows that they're going to be using, cases and screen flows. So once we've completed those, after discussion with JCC, obviously, I think it would make sense to share, even if it's just a video on how those work, so that you can see how they're doing that. Another example would be, we have the permission and we've enhanced permissions around who can provide refunds or not now. They still wanted a refund approval request. So to have that refund go through a case flow and to have certain information gathered when you request the refund. So there's going to be a screen flow to collect that, kind of like a form that you fill out. So that's a bit about some of the cases we often hear, and obviously there's a lot more, but I think it's important that we hear from our Avocado champions. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's presenters, and we're going to start our sharing with Adam Brown, who, as you may know, is the Director of Business Administration and Customer Care at the YMCA of Hamilton, Burlington, and Brantford. For those that have had the honor of meeting or working with Adam, he possesses an amazing ability to make you and everyone working with him feel valued. So very collaborative, and we appreciate that, Adam. The second, I believe we're going to have Azim Chin presenting, who is the GM of Operational Excellence at YMCA of Northern Alberta. And it's no secret that Azim possesses a unique ability to understand very complex business processes and to align the use of the technology to solve those challenges. So we're very thankful to have him presenting this to us. And then last but not least, we have Michael Blanchard, who is the GM and Digital Services and GM of Digital Services and Administration at YMCA of Calgary. And Michael possesses a deep understanding of the YMCA's complex needs and is able to lead those technology changes and implementations with a very collaborative approach that we're all very thankful for, Michael. So thank you for being with us, all three of you. So Adam, I would at this point pass it over to you if you wanted to share your screen and share some information about how you guys are using cases at the YMCA of Hamilton, Burlington, Brantford.
Sure, my pleasure. Matthew, is my screen visible?
It is now.
Perfect. Well, thanks, everybody. Pleased to chat to you today. I'm going to talk about a few of the ways that we're using, we'll call it case management, although we're not technically using the case object for most of this stuff. But in this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about two apps that we've pushed out the door and are using, and then some builds in progress. And at the end, I'm going to talk about a little bit about the drawbacks to the DIY approach, because I don't want to make this seem easier than it is. It's not hard, but it's also not something that we could have done in our first months in Avocado, new to Salesforce, etc. So this is all functionality in Salesforce that we have built in-house at HBB, and we are entirely on the Sales Cloud. So we don't have Service Cloud functionality here. So we'll talk about the Y to Work app, which is a YMCA program for job seekers. I'll talk about the Support Tickets app, where we have internal teams that reply to support emails, much like TechShare support replies to our emails seeking Avocado help. Talk about some builds in progress, and we'll go from there. So this will be a a brisk jog through the work. Certainly not enough to to get you from zero to building your own stuff, but I thought it was more important to show what we're doing and maybe inspire rather than to explain too deeply. So the reason we're choosing the DIY Salesforce approach is kind of threefold. The first is that we want to make life easier for our customers and staff. And we think Salesforce enables that through automations, through the mobile app, through privacy controls, and we can really provide tailored experiences to our staff. We are, like you, probably looking for efficiencies and cost savings. So by keeping more of our stuff in Salesforce and more of our data in one place, we're building trust and capacity between our internal teams. And we're trying to stop paying both in money and in time to use other systems. And then the third pillar that we're trying to keep in mind is to support our strategic priorities and decision-making with real-time reporting, better access to data, etc. So the first thing I'll chat to you about is the Y2Work app. Y2Work is a program that connects job seekers to employment coaches and resources, and the YMCA offers this program in our regions. It is free for job seekers. Pre-2023, this was a program that had been managed in Excel, and the goal in moving to Salesforce was to streamline the program management and reporting. And it's a three-step process. To access the Y2Work resources, a job seeker fills out a web form on our website. The web form gets pushed to a product that we use that's part of the Office 365 environment called Power Automate. And Power Automate does the heavy lifting and pushes a new record into Salesforce. So the web form is really straightforward and as simple as we can make it. We collect basic information on the job seeker. That information goes to this little Power Automate flow, and as you can see, it receives the web form, it parses the JSON, and then it just creates a record in Salesforce. So we're having it create a contact, and because the contact comes into Salesforce with some attributes it can only have through the Y2Work web form, we're able to use a Salesforce automation to create both the contact and the case, the Y2Work case around that contact to help the job seeker be contacted, be tracked, things like that. Of note, the Power Automate connector is a paid connector, so we pay $15 a month just to be able to create the record in Salesforce. And then the Y2Work app itself, this is inside Salesforce and what it looks like. The job seeker gets an automatic thank you email. Salesforce is good at things like that. And then our internal team, the Y2Work team, they get the contact is ready for them. The case is built for them and waiting for them to take action on. They get an automatic email notification. And as you can see on the screen, we're just tracking our workflows. We're collecting information from the contact and we're collecting information from the web form. And that enables us to do all the good CRM or customer relationship management things that Salesforce does and to report. So we launched this on April 1st, 2023, and we've had more than 7,000 cases since then, which have led to 2,400 successful coaching appointments. And that's the goal of this program, is to connect the job seeker to a coach. And I would say it's been successful using Salesforce. We have increased staff happiness due to automated processes. They like that Salesforce just does some stuff for them. It really clarifies the workflows and prevents gaps, prevents missed steps, and improves the reporting. So it's a really lightweight workaround that enables the Y2Work team to process. They've processed 7,000 in a year, and it has lightened their burden of using Excel to do that previously. The next piece of functionality that we built, and this is chronological for us as well, is we wanted to manage our support tickets internally through Salesforce. So we have 3 teams right now doing this: our IT support, our Avocado team internally, and then our customer care team, which is primarily about billing questions that customers have for us. Pre-2023, these were all managed in a program called Zendesk, which works well, but it's expensive and the reporting is pretty awful. So the goal was to save money, to enhance reporting, but not to lose functionality. So we wanted to match it as closely as we could. And this one uses, and Matthew referred to this earlier, this one uses the email to case process, where someone sends an email, and that email goes to Salesforce and is then routed to the relevant team. This is a custom app. I mean, you're looking at the dashboard here, but the custom app allows us to do case management. It allows us to communicate back and forth with the requester, to track, close time for cases and common things people are asking about. And then one of the features that we didn't really recognize until we started using it is that the Salesforce mobile app enables our IT team to have good access to Salesforce and to the support tickets app while they are at one of our 100 childcare centers restarting a router. So they don't have to be sitting at a laptop. The mobile app really enables their work to be done from the road. So a little bit more about the email to case that we're using. It uses Salesforce routing addresses to assign the incoming emails to the right team. So we have our 3 teams, and we can assign HBB staff to multiple teams or to a single team. And then the team-specific email confirmation gets sent back to the requester. So if you email the Avocado team, you get the Avocado thank you for reaching out. And if you email the IT team, you get the email version that reminds you to turn it on, turn it off, and turn it on again as your first step in support. Then we use what we would sort of consider as typical case management stuff, where the case is auto-created, the email arrives with the body and subject intact, the requester gets the confirmation email, we can email back and forth with the requester as we attempt to solve their problem, we can add notes, we can add files, we can insert screenshots, and then we can assign the ticket to a new team. So if it comes to the Avocado team and I need to send it to the IT team, I can just do that inside of Salesforce. So we launched this in January 2024. When I took this screenshot maybe a week ago, we had 2,100 total cases created from the email to case feature. Pretty evenly split between the 3 teams, which I did not anticipate, but shows that all 3 teams are, I think, needed and working hard. So we've really enjoyed that, and it has replaced the functionality we lost when we moved away from Zendesk, which was important. Future ideas and builds. We have some stuff in progress, and one thing that actually was pushed out the door 2 days ago on April 1st. The build that got pushed out on April 1st is another version of this case management where we're supporting our YMCA youth programs team. This is a team that helps youth who are in transition or who need housing support or who may be victims and vulnerable to human trafficking concerns. So this app is going to support the staff in supporting those youth. We're really enjoying the strict privacy controls that Salesforce permits. So when you create a case in this app, depending on which team you're on, whether it's the youth and transition team or the housing team, you can create a case in that stream and you get a different page layout depending on which team you're looking at. As part of these youth programs, we also built a quick module to allow them to set up events or workshops, to register participants into those workshops, and to send out certificates of participation at the end. We launched on Monday, and we've had 48 cases at 2 p.m. today. So the team is enjoying that, and we're just backfilling now with some of the reporting that they need. And then as I think about future builds and other applications for Salesforce, really think about any program that's being managed in Excel is the low-hanging fruit. Because while Excel is amazing, it is not a database and it is not a CRM. So Excel can't help you contact people and record their responses, things like that. There are some drawbacks to DIY Salesforce. So as I said, HBB has built all of this stuff in-house, but there's some drawbacks to that for sure. The first is that Salesforce licensing can be expensive, and we're able to get away with doing most of what we're doing using the platform license, but there are limits to that. Duplicate management is a growing issue, especially with our blunt force approach to creating contacts through an automation. Scope creep. So it's one thing to build and launch the app, but it takes ongoing resources to support it and iterate new functionality. And I'll bet the TechShare team is sitting there saying, yes, it does. And then the other drawback is I would say most of us on this call aren't professional Salesforce developers, and there are consequences to being a hobbyist. One of the things I think about is there's always going to be a better but expensive version. You could pay someone or something to make it better for you. And there's also a worse and cheaper option. You could continue to do things in Excel. And so you need to decide if the investment in Salesforce is going to hit that sweet spot where it's a manageable cost and giving you productivity benefits, but not overrunning your capacity to support it. Another drawback to being a hobbyist is there's no paid expert on standby to help troubleshoot. So when we run into problems, we get to ask Google. We can't just call the consultant that we're paying, which is a shame. And then it's possible to make a series of small choices or sacrifices as you're sort of building one thing and then building the next thing that can snowball into larger problems. So we recently have started to feel that we're chewing up a lot of system resources, and we're having to go back to previous automations or previous flows and tighten them up or clean them up. And it's hard for me to sit at my desk with my view of the world as an amateur or hobbyist Salesforce developer and build something that's future-proof. So I'm making architecture choices, and my team is making choices that could have negative consequences if we continue to make choices like that. And it's just a tension that we're trying to navigate between, it would be easy to do this now, but is that the right way to do it? So this is the slide where I talk you out of doing it yourself, although it works and it's been fun for us and really successful. And that is my presentation.
Excellent. I think we were going to wait till the end for questions, Adam, unless you feel strongly outside of that. Really appreciate you sharing. Definitely all those DIY points resonate with us. You know, when you talk about scope creep, one of the things that goes through my mind is Excel is the ultimate ability to allow you to scope creep because it doesn't control anything. It just allows you to do anything you want to do, which is the other end of that spectrum of, you know, sometimes you don't want to do all these other things. Thank you very much, Adam. Azim, did you want to go next?
Yeah, for sure. Let me just get my screen sharing going. So yeah, we have some similar use cases to Adam, and I'll do a bit more of a slightly different approach. I don't have a slide deck prepared. Adam's more prepared than I am with some of those things. So thanks, Adam, for setting the bar high. But I'm going to just share how we're using it at ROI. So we use it for our internal help desk as well as for some of our police information kind of clearance, one of our organizational requirements, and future state for our external contact center. But this is what I'm showing you right now is it's an experience site. And this is where our staff go to submit their support cases. And so it's we have our administration team, which is kind of like our Avocado business support team as well. Our IT, marketing, communications, payroll, and benefits, and human resources teams all receive cases through our help desk, primarily through web to case. We do support email to case if people wanted to submit a support request, but we found that by putting it through this kind of online portal, it allows us to capture automated kind of linking to data that allows us to get some fantastic analytics and reports, which I'll show you at the end of the presentation. So for one, when you're sending an email to case, there's not really clean categorization or linking back to your employees or volunteers, but this allows that, and you'll see that in a second. So staff have a one-stop kind of shop to come in and put in support requests, upload attachments, categorize, dependent pick list in terms of what their type of issue or request is. They can also view their own historical support cases and the current status of them. So instead of necessarily looking through all their email threads and going to their email account, they can see which different cases they have that are open, completed, or closed off. We actually do this access to the portal through single sign-on. So it's nice and clean for our staff. When they click the link, if they're already logged into their work computer, it takes them right to this page without having them to log in, but it ties to a customer computer license for them to access it. So it's pretty seamless for our staff to come in and use this. If for some reason it's a user access issue and they can't submit on the form, that's where our email the case comes in. They can just email our help desk, which throws it into our case management queue. So this is the front end for our employees, and the back end is similar to what Adam had showed in some of his screenshots in his presentation. But we've got our case information tracked here. So I'm actually going to just first show a list view of these. And we've got a variety of different queues and automated flows that put different cases into different groupings. So our HR tasks, our IT tasks, the marketing communications task, our payroll tasks that kind of flow in. Obviously here are the ones that meet, like I personally am currently stick handling and working within an organization. So I've got my own little workspace of open cases. Can view them in a list view or can view them in a Kanban view. So just some of the functionality that Salesforce provides to allow me to kind of manage my work. Within the case view, we can use kind of what they call, I think in Salesforce, paths and guidance for success to allow us to have manage the different status and stage fields for the cases to see if it's been received. I'm actually on a different kind of case there. I should use this one here, sorry. So is it a new case, in progress, on hold, escalated, waiting for customer, or closed? I can see the information about the employee that actually submitted the ticket here because it's tied through their staff information that we record in the system. So I know who the employee is, where they work, when they were hired. In certain cases, we also have asset information. So I'll show you on my profile here. We also are starting to put our IT assets into Salesforce, so I can see the type of laptop or device that I have, which can help streamline and improve the efficiency of some of the IT support that we're doing to know, like, when was it delivered to me? When's the warranty? What device and operating system am I on? And we've also got access to what we're building is in terms of a knowledge base where it can suggest related articles that we can tag and key in to identify, some common ways that we can support certain requests that come in. So I won't necessarily go through kind of the functionality about kind of responding and the threading. I think Adam covers that, but this is how we manage our cases in the back end. And then a kind of a similar use case scenario that we have is with an organizational requirement that we have at the YMCA, and I think this is fairly standard across YMCAs in Canada, where all of our employees and volunteers are required to have a recent police information clearance check on file. We were previously using like an LMS system to track this, but we recently moved it to Salesforce, where staff can upload and provide their latest police information clearance check on this kind of same help desk portal page. So if you look at my navigation at the top, there's a place for staff to upload their police information clearance, which are some fields that we were able to custom build and name. So when our staff submit these, it generates and creates a case for us. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm moving around in weird places. I'm going to share mine. So in the back end, because we're using a different record type for cases, there's different fields and different information and page layouts that we can have. It's a little bit different from support cases. And also the path here and the different stages are different. So when we first have somebody upload a police information clearance and receive status, the staff in the back end, they need to review this and approve it per se, have some guidance in terms of what they need to be looking for and what they need to be checking. They can move it into an under review status, an accepted status if they need to, or not accepted if it's something that doesn't meet the requirements of the organization. They can access the file of they have here and information about the employee as well. And then we have about 1,500 or just over 1,500 employees and volunteers that are required to have a PIC every 3 years. And the case management platform allowed us to, first off, create a secure online portal for them to submit the information, as well as to build and customize our own flows and automations related to our business requirements. So, for example, employees under 18 cannot get a record check, so they're not required to. Staff have 30 days post-hire to be able to provide one. So all those rules we'll be able to build in and also tie in notification and load. So when you're 45 days out from expiry, they'll get an email to you and your supervisor saying, hey, you have 45 days to go and get a new PIC and submit it. Those notifications are 30, 15. We can customize and build our own flows around that. And so if you look at, I think I lost the page, but if you go to my contact record page, so all of our employees and volunteers are in the system in Salesforce. And, I've got the information about, my role, where I work, and then also information about whether or not my role requires a police information check and what my most recent police information check is. So we've been able to use a lot of the different customization options for field creation and flows to build a management system around this case that kind of applies to our business as well. The last thing I'll share is just some of the reports and dashboards that this has allowed us to generate upon the whole police information clearance piece. I'll show you this one, but it allows us at a quick glance to see, split by whether it's employees or volunteers or both. How many individuals do we have that, have an expired PIC or that don't have an active PIC that we need to manage? We can also look at future expiry, so our organization covers the cost of PIC renewals for our employees, and so we can estimate approximately how much we'll be spending and for that expense and the seasonality of where we have upcoming expiries. We can group our data by the different value streams or departments that our employees work in, and we can get tangible information about exactly who in our organization has a PIC that's expiring this month or next month, or people that are turning 18 and are now eligible for it. So the robust reporting capabilities of Salesforce have allowed us to solve a lot of kind of operational challenges with this specific use case around our police information clearances. And then even on the help desk, our internal support case management side, the dashboards that we're able to create and the reports, not just understanding which departments are getting what types of requests, but trends on when we're receiving cases to the average resolution times, and be able to set some KPIs and metrics on the quality of the service and responsiveness that we have, understanding what types of questions and queries our internal staff have and which departments are asking it. So, for example, are we getting the majority of our IT questions from our childcare team, or are we getting the majority of our questions from our health and aquatics team? Within each value stream, which department is asking the most questions or certain types of questions, and where are we starting to see a lot of our queries? So, for example, our admin team gets a lot of requests on childcare billings, like disproportionately compared to other departments. And so it's give us some insight as to where we need to focus some of our administrative efforts. And then, every department has the ability to see that within payroll, questions related to pension or benefits, reporting, pay statements, T4, and then even individual case owners in terms of how workload distribution, resolution rates and time for different employees. And so it's endless. I could probably spend hours talking about the different reports and dashboards that are available, but I'll kind of end it there and leave some time if there's any questions at the end on how we're using it.
Thank you very much, Azim. I'm very much looking forward to diving into some questions about how you are reporting on it and closing that loop. Love to see that. Amazing. Michael, I don't know if you wanted to share your screen or speak. I appreciate you going next.
1 sec. All right, perfect. So Similar to Adam and Asim, like we're using case management in lots of different ways. A lot of this is similar to what we're doing in terms of the flows and how everything's organized. So I won't go into a ton of detail on that. But for us at YMCA Calgary, really we were focused on the customer experience and we started to launch case management within our environment. And so, we have a ton of different outlets for our customers to reach us in person, phone, and by email. And really, we were looking at what do our customers want coming out of the pandemic? What do they want? What are they looking for? And really focusing on that customer experience end of things. And so we launched case management as part of the release of our engagement center. So as our engagement center is a centralized area for all of our phones to be routed to, similar to a call center, there's also administrative aspects to it as well too. And so we launched that in February of 2023. And so a big part of that was, how do we know what people are talking about? We have a number of different tools that we use to route, record, put calls through different lines and those type of things. But the real focus was to get staff away from at the front desk, away from doing administrative tasks like answering the phone, checking emails, doing those type of things, and really focusing on the customer. And the engagement center can pick up the load when it comes to phones and emails and questions, inquiries from our clients. And so that was the big part of where we started to look into what cases could do for us and how we could manage it appropriately. Because really what we're looking for is the data, just like everyone else, like Asim and Adam, like we are looking for the data. And so how can we effectively use that and report on it? And so the engagement center is the biggest user of case management at the moment. And so it utilizes case management to track unique customer experiences. This has allowed us to understand what our customers are asking for, what they need support in, and really how we can improve our customer experience. Every time a phone call comes into the engagement center, our engagement center staff will actually log a new case and link it directly to their customer account. And so our staff on the front line, if a user has come in and said, hey, I phoned in, and Mike told me that, I got a free membership for a year. Well, they can check the logs and everything else related to the cases and provide the best support for that customer in the moment. We're also utilizing the automated emails, as Adam was talking about. Salesforce does some of that stuff really well. And so really we're sending out a survey to collect NPS scores and satisfaction scores at the end of every call. So every time a case is closed, that email is sent and users have the opportunity to respond back. We have about 1,500 responses so far. Obviously we take a lot of volume of calls. And so the people who are really passionate about it, passionate about what they're calling in about, we get to hear from them. And we also get to hear from the people who absolutely loved the service. And we can use those as training moments for our staff, but as well as to really gauge where our customers are at and how happy are they with our customer service experience and how we can continue to grow that. And so a lot of the data that we track are case reasons. So we can, we have pick lists. We also have description areas just like everyone else. And so really we're focused on, what our customers are talking about. Did we resolve the case in one call? That's an important metric that we measure because no one likes to call in multiple times to have something resolved. And a lot of this data informs our digital strategy around, where do we make it easier for people to find information? If we're getting a high volume of calls related to what are the hours of operations of our branches, that needs to be considered in our digital strategy on where we place it on the website. How do we make it more accessible? Those types of things. And also demographics are always important for us, right? We want to know what the ages of the people are calling, what parts of groups are they, so that we can make sure that we can tailor our services to support those who may not be ready to use self-service and are looking for more of that hand-holded approach. just a quick snapshot, just like everyone else, right? We log the emails, the calls, we collect a bunch of data. They can add those type of things in there. Same thing, we have a basic flow at the top to lead them through what that is. And so our engagement center team uses this every day, and quite often they quite enjoy it. It also gives us an opportunity to look back at what people have been talking about on a quarterly basis and continue to refine our processes and our business practices to match what they're looking for. And really, for us here in Calgary, we started phase 2 in December of 2023, and we've been rolling it out. We're starting to roll that out slowly over this last quarter and into this one. So we're utilizing case management and begun to do web to case and email to case. So really for our internal, external stakeholders, just like Adam and Sim, we're using it for email to case for our internal Avocado support. Web to case is a form on our website, and this is where we're directing our customers to inquire about membership accounts, any general questions that they may have, and so that we have a centralized place for people to and one source of truth for them so that they can respond to there. We can create a case for it, and we can continue to communicate with them effectively and provide the data related to that as well too. And so web to case for us, online for our web form allows customers to contact singular source. Previously, we were utilizing 6 individual Office 365 mailboxes for people to communicate with our branches. Those are quite onersome, and people were using it as a catch-all for everything. And so we're moving this to a web form to refine it down to make sure that our customers are getting the information they need, but also that our branches, in terms of efficiencies and freeing up their time to focus on the things that matter, whether it's our programming or our customer experience. So they reply directly in Salesforce for these emails, so we get them out of the inbox. And really similar to our regular case management for our engagement center, what are the reasons they're contacting, support with memberships, data to inform our digital strategy, and customer demographics are key metrics that we're constantly bringing in data for and constantly reviewing and making sure that we're meeting our customers' needs. Again, so just a snippet of the web form. It's pretty straightforward and simple. And so we can match those directly to the case. So once they submit it and their reason inquiry match its case, we assign the tasks, and we can assign them to different queues within the case management field. But pretty similar to how everyone else is using it. And the last one is email to case. So this is our internal ticketing system for staff inquiries and support for our CRM. So anything Avocado or Salesforce related. We have a small group of people who are expert users within our organization. And these staff emails a dedicated support email, and they're rerouted through Salesforce. And we create cases, and our support team can accept and respond directly in Salesforce. And that's a big part of how we kind of streamlined some of the efficiencies. Before, it used to be an email inbox, same thing, lots of people in it, quite complicated from there. And so this is where we're starting on our journey with cases, and there's lots of different opportunities in different areas. And so that's how we're currently using email to case for Williams and Calgary.
Excellent. Appreciate everyone sharing. Thank you, Michael. I guess now we're opening the floor for questions. We didn't tell Michael, Azim, and Adam that they were going to field questions. I'm sure they're fine with it. Hey, Liz, would you like to share your question?
Yeah, I had a question for Azim. How are you managing making sure you get all of your staff into Salesforce? So I like what you're doing with, being able to track which departments are submitting cases and tickets and things like that. But how do you make sure everyone gets in the system from whatever you're using for payroll?
Yeah, that's the big question that we had to answer as well. So we're working on trying to improve like an automated process. How it's working today is we get a periodic report out of our HRIS system from ADP that flows into Azure, and we've built some scripts that allow us to kind of create users in our Microsoft, like get them email address if they need it. From there, that information flows through reporting to one of our administrators whose job it is every day to set up new users. We do like a weekly upload with the data loader to update like changes as well. So if people's job titles change or roles change or they're terminated or that information kind of, we synchronize it on within like daily new hires are added, but weekly we make updates and changes to make sure we've got like the database of our HRIS employees and volunteers are matched in Microsoft as well as in Salesforce. Now that is a work in progress. There's definitely some learnings that we've had and some issues that we're still working through, but for the most part, it's working pretty well to allow us to use these types of functionalities. So if you have specific questions on that, feel free to ask. That's kind of broad.
No, that's good. Yeah, we do something similar with Azure, but we only really create users for people that are going to be using Salesforce, not just all staff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
great,
your,
thank you.
sorry to ask a follow-up question to that, Azim. Does the request to add a new employee start in the case, or is it outside of the case management?
Yeah, no, it's through our HRIS system. So when they're going through the hire process, we're trying to find a way to get our visibility into this like clicking the hire button and all the like onboarding requirements are done. But right now it's kind of like a report with all the information, then we upload it to create the contact, or if there's already a contact there, we just update their information in Salesforce and then issue them the right customer community license profile so they can access the help desk. We also issue their staff membership and discounts and other things that are kind of tied to their employee relationship that's connected into Salesforce.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Any other questions for the team? If not, I can ask one. You guys might not. Someone might want to interrupt me. Is anyone linking to any Avocado objects on the case? So like we say that you're taking requests for changes to a membership. Do you link to the membership at all? Because that was one of the thoughts we had was in the portal, you know, when you see your memberships, when you see your registrations, maybe adding a question mark that actually creates a case that links directly to it. Because I assume once they ask for something to be changed on a membership, you then got to go look up the membership, right, that they're talking about. And I was just wondering.
We haven't linked anything directly on the case. What we have done is on our page layouts, like our pages that we're working on the case, we've added related objects that allow us to more easily access the information and click through into it.
Gotcha.
So similar to like when an employee opens up a case for IT and it shows what assets they have for that employee. Similar things like we'll show any memberships they have if their case is related to membership. Show any registrations that they have because it's likely to be tied to that. So not a perfect match, but we're some productivity kind of enhancements on that area.
Absolutely. Any other
Or just
questions?
be the same. We're not linking anything. We're not linking anything directly.
I think there's some value, but it also creates a complexity that may cause concern. So I totally understand that. Anything you're linking, Adam?
No, and I would further clarify, like we're not currently trying to replace Avocado functionality. We're really working to serve other departments and other needs. So we're not having to cross-contaminate, if you will. But the same as the other two, we're using a lot of like page layouts and related objects to shorten the path between two things.
Yeah, I think that's great. Really appreciate you guys sharing it, and I'll just open it and pause for another second in case there's more questions. I really want to thank the presenters, and if you have time, I wouldn't mind asking a few more small questions that may be of value to everyone, but may not be. Is anyone doing any telephone integration, where when you call in it, using the Service Cloud integration type features, or the Service Console? Has anyone gotten to that point?
Not in YMCA Cal, like we considered it when we launched the engagement center, but we went with a different app for it just because it offered more flexibility for our operations.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Yeah, we explored it, but never pulled the trigger. We haven't yet started using case management for external customers to put in like a support request. We're still using a centralized email address. We built a bit of a business case around it and had explored some solutions that tie in the phone side, but we never ended up kind of pulling the trigger on that. So no.
Excellent. I really appreciate that. As we think about Avocado in our path. There's obviously a lot of functionality that's coming down our pipe right now, which I'm sure you guys are aware of. That at least that's coming, and if not, you'll be aware soon. This is one of the key pieces that we're seeing everyone use. So if there's anything we can do to round the edges between those two, please let us know. We're not promising to do it, but we're promising to listen and make sure that we do what's best for everyone. So if you have something, please, if you're not comfortable sharing right now, please reach out to your account manager and share what your thoughts are. Thank you. Adam mentioned, just point out an observation, he talked about the DIY challenges, but I will say that, it looks like there's a lot of DIY happening here, and it's I wouldn't call you a hobbyist, Adam, or anyone on this, because you guys seem to know what you're doing and you're doing the right things. So I want to just acknowledge that you seem to be very successful with implementing yourself, and I think that's great. I think everyone should, take a page from that, in my opinion, and also understand that it's not a waste to start implementing yourself and then potentially go to get a consultant after, if you want more advanced things. So that's just my perspective, my 2 cents, but thank you for sharing, and we'll be in touch about the next user group shortly. If you have ideas, please let us know. Thank you. I think if you want to stay on and ask questions, please feel free. I think Adam, Azim, and Michael don't mind for another 5 minutes.
Matthew, maybe to visit the question you asked about, like, how can the TechShare team and Avocado help us sort of polish the edges on what we're doing? One of the things that would be helpful is if there were more ways to show things in the Avocado menu or on Avocado screens from native Salesforce. So we can currently add custom contact fields. Those are pretty buried. It would be great if there was a button or a link to indicate that, hey, if you click this, there's a lot more information about this person or this account or this membership in Salesforce.
Appreciate that request. I'm just going to stop recording so that we can share this with everyone, and then I will